the Global Investigative Journalism Conference, we asked some of the world's leading experts for their top tips when investigating stories. One of the key lessons is using data to extract and analyze information and to tell stories.
Hi, I am Nильs Mulvad. I'm from Denmark. I've been working with investigative reporting and data journalism for more than 25 years, and I want to share with you some of my key points of what's important with using data for stories. We see a lot of use of data where they think data is the main thing and think you can judge the quality of a story according to how they have been using data instead of the quality of the story. And you wouldn't do that if it was an interview or observation or a document trial. Think, oh, this guy have really been bright in doing an interview if there was no story in it. So I think really what's the very basic thing of data journalism is journalism. You need to judge every story out of its journalistic value. And you need to use data to improve that journalistic value, not just to look at the data itself. One I have always been very focused on is freedom of information. So you combine the use of freedom of information with structuring your, what you get out of these requests and sending out new requests for data or documents, and you structure all this and analyze it, and you find the stories in it. So the bright use of freedom of information combined with structuring the data is really, really important to actually then go to the stories. Second is to check the information, and it's checking against errors. And if somebody points to an error, not only correct that error, but see if it's a pattern inside your data, so you perhaps spread something that isn't true, and it's checking outliers and wrong spellings and so on. And you do that in all kind of journalism, but it's really important in data journalism. So checking and checking and checking is the second one. The third one, getting rid of numbers in the stories. It's also connected to the stories are important, but we also get rid of interview pieces or observations if they are not bringing more into the story. And numbers are normally really hard to deal with for many people. So if you fill your story with all these numbers, you just make it very difficult for people to get the story. So there's a specific issue on getting rid of numbers, and perhaps the best data stories is the data stories where there's no number in it. And the fourth one is Excel. It might seem strange, but you normally at all these conferences get presentations of a lot of new data tools. And I'm myself doing a lot of presentations and hands-on training on different data tools. But the main thing is that Excel counts for 90% of all data journalism, because this is the intermediary between all the different programs. It's the way of structuring data, it's the way of analyzing. And if you have understood these methods in Excel, you can pretty easy go to other tools and use all this basic knowledge and structuring data using these tools. So all the other things is something you build on top of Excel. Then the fifth is understanding this is teamwork. And it could be teamwork across borders, it could be teamwork with people having different skills, but in this world where everything is changing so fast, you can't know everything. So you need to be very focused, knowing what you're good at and what you need to combine with somebody else, so you really improve the final result by improving or combining all these different skills. So this is the five things: combining with FIO, checking errors, getting rid of numbers, using Excel, and making it as a teamwork. And all this is for the main purpose that journalism is the important thing about data journalism. The basic thing about gathering information from interview and observation and paper, that's perhaps something that disappears, and then data, which really is everywhere. This will be a core competence in the new world, whatever happens with all these formats and business model. If we don't get the idea of getting the information which people want to hide and then structure it, analyze it, and find the main stories in it, there's no reason for what we're doing. So I think that's really where you put data journalism and investigative reporting together as something that would go long into the future. In the EU, when we started on that project in 2003, the farm subsidies counted for nearly half the total budget of all EU spending, and it was secret. It has been that for more than 25 years, and some crazy system that you're spending so many money and nobody knows who get the money and for what. And there hasn't been really many investigative data stories against EU at that time. So in that way, it perhaps was a bit crazy to start, where it really was the most biggest story you ever could think about in EU. But anyway, we did, and we started in Denmark, where I'm based, and after 1.5 years, we got the Danish farm subsidies after a really hard struggle of freedom of information, and structured the data. And then another guy, Jack Thurston, got it out in UK a year later, and we teamed up, and it was a project that then was spread in all over EU, and in the end we got all these data released. So today it's possible to see who get farm subsidies for what. You could still improve it, and you can still find a lot of stories that hasn't been told in it, but we changed the way this whole system was by running this freedom of information and sharing the methods all over EU.